It remains a truth both stark and profoundly haunting, one indelibly inscribed upon the earliest annals of our shared human narrative. More than 2.5 millennia ago, there existed a marvel of civilization. It was a place capable of rendering any contemporary observer utterly speechless with awe, standing as a beacon of sophistication in a much darker age. At a time when the vast majority of humanity still traversed the dim, uncertain pathways of prehistory, subsisting with only the most rudimentary implements, dwelling in scattered, vulnerable communities, and locked in a relentless, primal battle merely to survive another dawn, a monumental testament to human ingenuity emerged. Forged from sun-baked brick and driven by boundless ambition, it rose triumphantly from the Mesopotamian dust. This was Babylon, a sprawling, magnificent metropolis. Babylon was never content merely to exist. It actively projected a formidable dominance across the entire known world. This was a city-state of such staggering opulence and unassailable power that its inhabitants presumed it to be the undisputed epicenter of the cosmos, the very sacred axis around which they believed the entire celestial and terrestrial order gracefully revolved. However, what truly captivates our modern imagination today, resonating with a far greater poignancy than any dimly recalled legend, is not found in the sheer scale of its colossal, sky-reaching fortifications. It is not found in the dazzling, hypnotic gleam of its cobalt-blue Ishtar Gate beneath an unyielding sun, nor even in the intricate, often confounding myths that have echoed through the corridors of history for millennia. What renders Babylon both terrifyingly formidable and profoundly admirable, a subject that demands our sober contemplation even in the present age, is an inherent, recurring paradox. Beneath that magnificent facade of resplendent glory and what appeared to be eternal strength, the essence of human life there constituted both a vibrant tapestry of sophisticated advancement and, simultaneously, an incredibly delicate, easily severed thread. It represented a civilization at its absolute zenith, yet one that constantly hovered precariously upon the jagged precipice of oblivion. A city that once held the collective gaze of the world in thrall, eventually yielded to the merciless, inexorable forces of entropy, gradually dissolving back into the very desert sands from which it had so majestically emerged. For this profound reason, the Chronicle of Babylon far transcends the realm of a mere dry, academic footnote or a forgotten, dusty relic of antiquity. It stands as a vivid, pulsating cautionary tale, a powerful, resonant echo designed for every civilization, every family, and indeed, every future generation. When we peer through the shifting mists of time at Babylon, we are not merely observing a ghost city of stone and parched clay. We are, in fact, gazing into a profound mirror. In its reflection, we see our highest aspirations, our unbridled pride, and our remarkable capacity for extraordinary, even audacious, creativity. We see our primal fears, our boundless capacity for enduring love, our insatiable avarice, and our desperate need for faith. We see the steep, uncompromising toll exacted when a culture, once profoundly convinced of its own immortality, is ultimately eradicated from the records of history. Perhaps that is precisely why the deeper one delves into the minutiae of an ordinary day in ancient Babylon, the more one feels an irresistible urge to delve deeper still. Each humble grain of barley, every rhythmic, deliberate stroke of a reed stylus pressed upon wet clay, functions as a potent, jagged shard of a looking glass, unflinchingly reflecting our own contemporary world. This compels us to confront the most unsettling and fundamental questions. What truly constitutes enduring human greatness, and what inherent forces cause even the most radiant and seemingly invincible glory to ultimately fragment and crumble into transient dust? Imagine, if you will, a crisp, invigorating morning more than 2,600 years ago, whilst the majority of the globe still languished, largely mired in the gloom of scattered, precarious communities, where each day was haunted by the perpetual, gnawing anxiety of where the next meal might be found. Babylon presented itself as an almost unbelievable vision of meticulously organized order. It was the grandest urban center on Earth, a veritable hive of humanity. Its thoroughfares teemed with such vibrant, incessant life that the air itself felt thick with human presence. almost suffocating in its intensity. Its wealth flowed like an inexhaustible river. Its power, a tangible force, stretched commandingly across every imaginable horizon. The city possessed a fierce, almost audacious self-confidence, openly proclaiming itself the sacred heart of the known universe. Its gargantuan walls, meticulously forged from sturdy mud and Killine-fired bricks, snaked for miles, embracing the sprawling city like a protective, yet enigmatic, arm. The magnificent Ishtar Gate, resplendent in the nascent light, gleamed with the profound, vivid intensity of lapis lazuli. The mighty Euphrates, swollen with life-giving silt, pulsed vigorously through the metropolis, a vital artery that could never be allowed to falter. Yet, Babylon was far more than just a grand stage for powerful kings and gleaming golden temples. It was, at its heart, a place where ordinary men and women rose with the sun, carried their jars to the riverbanks, bartered diligently for grain, nurtured their young families, and offered prayers before silent idols, collectively experiencing every vibrant heartbeat of a civilization at its absolute peak. Dawn unfurls gently across the expansive, flat Mesopotamian plain, painting the landscape in a vast, living tapestry of emerald barley fields and golden green date palms. Even before the sun has fully emerged above the horizon, the city already stirs, a burgeoning cacophony of purposeful movement and nascent energy. If you were a common citizen here around 600 BCE, your day would invariably commence at the banks of the mighty Euphrates. This river was more than a mere source of sustenance. It was revered as a benevolent deity bestowing life, yet also feared as a capricious demon capable of swift, devastating withdrawal. It served as the city's bustling commercial highway, its primary defense, and the central focus of a spiritual belief system that dictated whether a season's harvest would be deemed a blessing or a harsh curse. Babylonian women, their figures embodying a stoic, timeless grace, would arrive at the water's edge, balancing heavy earthenware vessels. Their hushed murmurs and the gentle clatter of pottery merged seamlessly with the powerful rush of the river's current. Since the first faint blush of grey light, fishermen would already be navigating their distinctive circular times, kufa times boats, curious, round vessels meticulously sealed with black bitumen, skillfully casting their nets for the plentiful carp and catfish. Beyond the city's towering gates, farmers moved with quiet determination towards their carefully tended plots. Here, staples like barley, wheat, sesame, onions, and garlic thrived under the meticulous guidance of an intricate, life-sustaining irrigation network. In Babylon, no one was afforded the luxury of forgetting that nature embodied both a nurturing mother and a ruthless, unforgiving destroyer. For the Euphrates, unlike the more predictable Nile, was notoriously capricious, prone to sudden, violent floods or devastating, searing droughts. An excess of water spelt ruined fields. Too little condemned families to starvation. Life, therefore, was never a certainty. It was a constant, daily, and often unspoken struggle against the formidable power of the elements. As the sun climbs higher, bathing the mud-brick rooftops in a rich, warm amber glow, you might find yourself walking towards the Ishtar Gate, the most magnificent threshold leading into the inner sanctum of the city. It is an architectural marvel deliberately conceived to render any beholder utterly speechless. Deep indigo-glazed bricks, meticulously fired and enameled to perfection, shone with an almost otherworldly luminescence, as if fragments of the very night sky had been intricately woven into its fabric. Upon this breathtaking cerulean canvas, majestic relief sculptures of ferocious striding lions, powerful bulls, and the enigmatic Mushushu. Mythical dragons with the forelegs of a lion and the hind legs of an eagle stood sentinel. They guarded the entrance in silent, formidable ranks, their eyes seemingly following all who approached. This gate was far more than a physical barrier. It represented a profound psychological boundary. It was built to remind every soul who passed through that Babylon was no mere settlement, it was the hallowed dwelling place of the gods themselves. You continue along the Processional Way, a magnificent thoroughfare paved with gleaming limestone and polished marble, leading directly to the spiritual heart of the city. The imposing temple complex, dedicated to Marduk, the supreme deity. The towering walls flanking either side of this path, themselves adorned with majestic lions in relief, echoed the symbolic might of the Ishtar Gate. During the revered Akitu festival, the colossal statue of Marduk would be carried along this sacred path amidst an overwhelming sea of fervent worshippers. It was a spectacle so profoundly immersive that it must have felt as though the very cosmos was being ritually reborn. But today is a typical, bustling day, filled instead with the hurried, purposeful pace of merchants and traders, the rhythmic clang of blacksmiths, and the rich, comforting scent of freshly baked flatbread wafting from nearby ovens. It is often these seemingly mundane moments, the bedrock of everyday existence, that truly define a civilization, not merely its fleeting, monumental triumphs, but the enduring, quiet resilience of its daily rhythm. In the city center, the noise is a deafening, yet exhilarating roar of activity. This is the undisputed commercial heart, and Babylon's very existence was linked to the vigorous pulse of trade. Here, daily life was governed by a complex web of debt notes, intricate contracts, and an unshakable conviction that every transaction had to be recorded with absolute transparency. You hear a veritable symphony of diverse tongues, the resonant local Akkadian, the widespread Aramaic, the melodic Persian of mountain travelers, the lilting Greek of astute Western merchants, and the ancient Egyptian of river fleets. Caravans arrived bearing copper from the Anatolian highlands, tin from the distant Hindu Kush, fragrant cedar from the dense forests of Lebanon, and exotic frankincense from the sands of Arabia. Lacking significant natural resources of its own, no indigenous timber, no stone quarries, and no abundant metal deposits, Babylon's immense wealth was strategically built upon the fertile surplus of its agricultural soil and its masterful control of the intricate trade routes that bound the ancient world together. By midday, you might find yourself at the stall of a scribe, a man who served as a vital cog in the social machine. Perhaps you need a formal contract for a barley loan to sow your fields. The scribe, his gaze sharp and entirely unsentimental, would sit before a block of soft, pliable, wet clay. With deft precision, using a reed stylus, he would press intricate, wedge-shaped marks into the surface cuneiform, a sophisticated writing system that had already endured for millennia. You, as a common citizen, might be unable to decipher these marks. Yet you would profoundly understand the immense, binding weight of that humble clay tablet. It bore your name, the lender's name, the interest rate, and the date. Once complete, a unique cylindrical seal would be rolled across the damp clay, serving as an irrefutable signature. The tablet would then be sun-dried, transforming it into an immutable record destined for the city's vast archives. Should you dare to break your solemn word, the city would not forget. This offers a profound lesson. The earliest civilizations grasped that a cohesive society cannot function solely on the fleeting whims of memory or the fragility of spoken promises. They documented everything: marriages, land sales, the resolution of disputes, and the codification of laws. They understood that the fabric of social order must be designed to outlast the transient ebb and flow of individual human emotion. This foundational wisdom remains strikingly relevant even in our digital age. The necessity of accountability and verifiable record-keeping serves as the indisputable bedrock of any world that genuinely aspires to endure. Payment for goods was made in weighed silver, as standardized coinage had not yet emerged. Indeed, almost everything in Babylon was measured with a precision that bordered on the obsessive, be it weight, volume, or time itself. They ingeniously divided the day into 12 double hours and, through their sophisticated astronomical observations, birthed the sexagesimal system. This legacy profoundly endures today, giving us the 60-second minute and the 360-degree circle. Perhaps what remains most admirable about Babylon is not its legendary gold, but rather how a society born amidst the mud and unpredictable floods laid the foundations for the scientific method. They possessed no computers, yet they harbored an insatiable desire to transform the apparent chaos of the natural world into discernible, predictable mathematical laws. At noon, as the scorching sun causes shadows to shrink to nothing, you might pass the opulent palace quarter, where the legend of the Hanging Gardens takes root. Whether these gardens were a literal, verdant oasis of cascading greenery or a beautiful, enduring myth matters little. The image itself encapsulates the Babylonian spirit, an audacious belief that humanity, through engineering prowess, could bend nature to its will and conjure a paradise within the heart of a desert. The story recounts that King Nebuchadnezzar II commissioned them for a homesick queen, pining for the lush mountains of her homeland. If this tale holds even a kernel of truth, it reveals a timeless human reality. Even the man whose armies conquered half the known world was ultimately powerless against the profound loneliness of the woman he cherished. Beneath the monumental bricks, there always beat the vulnerable pulse of a human heart. As evening approaches, the colossal Etemenanke ziggurat, the monumental temple tower dedicated to Marduk, looms above you. For the Babylonians, this was not an act of hubris. It was a sacred, artificial mountain, a tangible bridge between the mortal realm and the divine. Tier upon tier, it ascended towards the clouds, a testament to their belief that human life was inextricably woven into the fabric of the spiritual world. Priests, robed in pristine white linen, performed intricate rituals, offering libations of beer and sacred bread. They believed these acts were essential to prevent the fragile universe from collapsing back into primordial chaos. While we might offer a knowing smile at such ancient rituals today, we nonetheless share their fundamental human need, the belief that our own daily efforts, however small, contribute meaningfully to preventing our collective lives from descending into disarray. When the sun finally dips below the horizon, painting the sky in dramatic streaks of crimson and violet, the priests atop the ziggurat turned their eyes to the heavens. These were the world's first true astronomers. They tracked wandering planets, predicted eclipses, and constructed complex mathematical models of the stars. For them, the night sky was more than glittering pinpricks. It was a divine map charting the course of destiny. It is a sobering thought that the genesis of profound human knowledge often begins with an elemental fear, a reverence for the unknown, and an intense yearning to comprehend fate. From these seeds of ancient superstition, the first resilient sprouts of genuine science began to grow. You return at last to your modest home, a series of cool rooms gathered around a quiet courtyard. Your wife has spent her day making bread, weaving textiles, and managing the household, the vital, unsung labor upon which any empire ultimately stands. Your children, their faces smudged with play, tumble and laugh in the dirt, their sounds a comfort against the encroachment of night. Dinner is simple: flatbread, a measure of beer, onions, and sweet dates. Regardless of status, the fundamental pillars of life remained constant: the security of food, the warmth of family, and the protection of shelter. No empire can truly survive without the unwavering dedication of those who tend the hearth and those who toil under the unrelenting sun. As the oil lamps cast their flickering glow, stories are recounted perhaps of the legendary Gilgamesh and his futile search for immortality. But as the city descends into a deep darkness, unpunctuated by the artificial glow of our modern age, a palpable sense of unease begins to creep in. Night was the dominion of the unknown, a time when the Babylonians most acutely feared the insidious spirits of disease and the terrifying suddenness of death. The chilling spectre of infant mortality cast a pervasive shadow over virtually every cradle. They wore protective amulets and recited ancient incantations, clinging to their faith as a lifeline against the harsh uncertainties of existence. Life was undeniably hard, and its inherent fragility remained a constant, sobering companion. It was precisely this daily awareness of how easily life could be shattered that compelled them to cling so tightly to the pillars of law, the embrace of family, and the strength of community. When humanity forgets its own inherent fragility, it invariably forgets the profound essence of gratitude. Mighty Babylon eventually succumbed, first to the Persians, then to Alexander the Great, and finally to the desert sands. Its walls crumbled to dust, and its streets grew silent. Yet, the enduring legacy of what Babylon built did not perish. Its systems for measuring time, its observation of the stars, its codification of law, and its narratives of the human struggle are the very foundations upon which our modern world stands. I am convinced that this is why the echoes of Babylon continue to haunt and inspire our collective consciousness, especially for those who have weathered the tempests of existence. When one has lived long enough to witness the inevitable retreat of the tides, a harsh truth takes root. Nothing in this world is ultimately eternal. Fame is but a fleeting shadow. Material wealth, a handful of sand slipping through our fingers. Even the most monolithic structures are eventually surrendered back to the earth. Yet, amidst this decay, certain intangible things possess a resilient strength. Kindness, the warmth of family memories, the wisdom passed from parent to child, and the foundational values of character and ethics, these constitute the true, lasting legacies. Babylon, as a physical entity, perished. However, its foundational lessons and its pioneering spirit robustly endure. Perhaps this is the ultimate truth of how a civilization achieves immortality, not through the arrogance of brick and stone, but through the indomitable persistence of the human spirit itself. If I were to distill the most profound warning for all future generations from the hallowed dust of Mesopotamia, it would be this: learn to deeply revere the invisible foundations, those weightless, intangible values that the eye cannot see, yet upon which the very equilibrium of our world rests. Show profound reverence to those who painstakingly labored before our era, the countless, nameless millions who shed sweat and tears to lay the groundwork for a future they would never see. Guard the sanctity of the family, the fairness of just laws, the sanctity of collective memory, and the sobering weight of individual responsibility. History, in its unwavering and meticulous recounting, teaches us a sobering truth. A society seldom collapses solely under the blunt force of external trauma. It is rarely the sudden cruelty of a foreign invasion or the cataclysmic fury of a natural disaster that delivers the final, fatal stroke. Far more frequently, the initial, insidious fissures appear from within. These cracks form when a people gradually cease to treasure the seemingly minor, yet fundamentally essential virtues, or when they neglect the invisible, vital threads of empathy and shared duty that weave a community into a resilient, cohesive whole. Babylon, as we have observed, possessed a meticulous, unparalleled genius for charting the celestial spheres, for codifying intricate laws, and for recording the minutiae of daily existence with a precision that bordered on the obsessive. Yet, its ultimate demise serves as a chilling times memento mori. No human achievement, however monumental, and no display of power, however absolute, is sufficient to guarantee longevity. If a people collectively forgets their inherent limitations, ignores the profound fragility of existence, or loses sight of the true moral purpose that underpins genuine greatness. Perhaps this is the most vital, and indeed, most profoundly contemporary insight that today's generation can extract from these sun-bleached ruins. We must not view history merely as a dusty, remote repository of irrelevant fables. Instead, we should perceive it with an open heart as a grand, burnished mirror, unflinchingly reflecting our own modern faces back at us. In Babylon's era of supreme prosperity and audacious ambition, we discern the reflections of our own burning dreams, our boundless and often perilously hubristic aspirations to reach ever higher, even into the heavens themselves. In Babylon's eventual, profound silence, we hear a harsh but necessary warning about the insidious cost of unbridled complacency. Within the ordinary, rhythmic pulse of daily life in that vibrant city, we find a poignant reflection of every modern family and community striving tirelessly to maintain a semblance of order and peace amidst a world in perpetual, often tumultuous, flux. The more deeply and empathetically we seek to understand these lost civilizations, the greater our opportunity to live our own lives with conscious intention, fully aware of the precious, often precarious, inheritance we are currently striving to build and sustain. Therefore, as we draw the veil over our contemplation of an ordinary day within the extraordinary city of Babylon, the most haunting and indelible aspect is not the monumental scale of its formidable walls or the dazzling wealth of its bustling markets. The most enduring memory is the sobering realization that even at the pinnacle of the ancient world, its inhabitants lived with the very same anxieties, cherished the same hopes, and held the same deep affections that define us today. They were profoundly, achingly human, They loved with an elemental ferocity, feared the encroaching dark of the unknown, labored with unyielding diligence, and prayed with a desperate, heartfelt devotion. They raised their children with the same trembling hope and fervent aspirations we feel today, relentlessly striving to protect their tomorrow at any conceivable cost. This shared humanity bridges the daunting chasm of 5 millennia, rendering them not merely distant relics of a vanished past, but our brothers and sisters in the enduring tapestry of the human experience. It is precisely this empathetic connection that transforms the fall of Babylon from a mere historical collapse into a resonant echo across the vast expanse of time. It serves as an urgent summons for every succeeding generation to look critically at its own hands and ask, what truly are we building? What legacy are we painstakingly leaving for those who will walk these same streets when our own time has irrevocably passed? And, most critically, is what we are collectively creating virtuous and robust enough to withstand the unsparing, impartial test of time itself? If this journey into the distant past has stirred your heart or prompted a moment of deep reflection, I encourage you to hold fast to that insight. It is an idea imbued with the transformative power to alter how you perceive your unique place and purpose within the grand design of the world. Continue to seek out and internalize these rich narratives of bygone eras. For sometimes, paradoxically, the further back we look into the shadows of the past, the more vividly we can discern the illuminated path to living with purpose in the present, sowing the seeds of a legacy that truly, deeply matters for all time.